What up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. We are back. Today's date is January 9th, 2019. This is the Fearless Show, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Darius Walker. I'm going to let you introduce our special guest tonight. Say what up to everybody.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome
Definitely
back.
Happy New Year.
2019.
Just still getting used to saying 2019.
For real, 2019. We're here. But special guest, been here once.
Once before.
Once? One time.
In front of the scenes. Multiple times behind the
camera.
Shoots a lot of our interviews.
Facts. This is the incomparable Sarah McDarry.
Hi.
So, I mean, before we even get to this, man, like, how was the holidays? How's New Year's? How's everything?
It was good. We had our very first Christmas in our very own apartment in Brooklyn, New York. I bought a Christmas tree from the dollar store. Yes, I did. And his mom sent us all kinds of Christmas decorations, so we were very festive this year.
That's what's up.
Actually we did it all the way, and we ended up cooking. Started cooking in the morning, like, I don't even know, like 10 a.m. and we ate around 5 p.m. and I feel like we were cooking that entire time.
Yeah.
And we fed other Brooklyn orphans that couldn't go home or didn't, because when you're in the city, you don't always have a family to go to. So
yeah,
we had some friends over and we shared our food and our love, and it was really nice, and it was like really the real Christmas. It was really good.
That's dope. I don't know what a real Christmas is, being a basketball player, but it sounds nice. I had a game.
Always tournaments.
26th.
You got tourneys or games.
Yeah, I had a game.
You gotta come visit. So. You gotta come visit.
I was in Paris for New Year's, so that was dope.
You were what for New Year's?
Paris.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They're living it up, man. I had to one break so far this year, so I had to go all out for that one.
Hell yeah.
But
that's what's up.
Survived. We're here and we're back. As many of you guys know who are checking out the site already, our site did go through a pretty substantial change, not just visually, but a lot behind the scenes. But the website went through some major upgrades and updates, and I think people are liking it so far. But so I did that, spent 2-3 days getting all that together, and then had New Year's and everything. But it turned out really well.
Oh yeah, the website's looking fresh. You guys should go check it out. It's a lot sharper. Things are interactive. It's a lot more
user friendly.
User friendly for sure.
Yeah, I won't pat myself on the back, but it came out pretty good. So this is the very first Fearless Show or any podcast of 2019, and we have some things to talk about. So just jump right into it. We're gonna have some news items, starting with the Golden Globes, the award show that nobody talks about, but kind of talks about. So we're going to kind of talk about it. I don't know. I didn't watch it for sure.
I didn't watch it either.
But
I watched bits and pieces.
Watch bits and pieces?
Yeah, because I love Sandra Oh. So
she did win,
to watch.
Didn't she?
Yeah, she won, but she was also hosting. She's the first Asian American woman to host the Golden Globes. So
congrats. She won.
Right? But even though the Golden Globes was like trying to push diversity, it wasn't still never it hasn't been able to live up to that claim yet. But that I think that's what they try to do with Whenever any kind of establishment tries to claim diversity, they always like stick an Asian in there. But
it's a safe bet. It's a safe inclusion.
Yeah. Because they're the friendly other, you know. Anyways, you can disagree with me. It doesn't matter. But Sandra Oh was the first Asian American woman to ever host the Golden Globes ever in history, and she did win.
She did win.
Her parents were there too.
So it was a big night for her.
It was a really big night for her.
Like I said, I'm not really up on Golden Globes. I don't really watch it, but I do check on like who won. It kind of is an indicator for what could possibly happen in the Oscars a lot of times, and what like critics and the larger Hollywood community is talking about a lot.
Right.
So I do check that out, you know, keep my win streak alive in the Oscars for sure, but
yeah, I saw some things that were interesting and like that were stated as kind of controversial, like the fact that the whole cast and crew and the director of Black Panther was there, but they didn't win anything. But the Green Book, the movie The Green Book, I haven't seen it yet, but I read about how they were kind of making a whole nother movie about the white savior, kind of, you know, and how they won all these awards, but the Black Panther didn't win anything.
Definitely an awards type of movie. There's definitely a formula to what will get that type of buzz. So, I mean, it was definitely out of touch once, not like it's a surprise that they're out of touch once again with what's actually popular and what people are seeing, considering Black Panther was one of the biggest movies ever, not just this year. To win and to not win anything is obviously a giant snub, but I'm not like too surprised with that because one, it is still in their eyes a genre comic book movie, so they don't really take those that seriously. And then on the other hand, it's happened multiple times with other movies. Like, for example, I remember when Straight Outta Compton was like the highest grossing musical biopic ever, and it didn't win almost anything.
Because the audience are black people, and
but can you really say it's black people though? Because it's the biggest biopic ever. That means everybody was watching.
Well, no, absolutely. But like specifically with Black Panther, the amount of Black Americans that went and saw that movie is way more than The Green Book.
Yeah,
statistically,
for sure.
Like actually statistics, it is. And they're both talking about or both bring up things that have to do with that culture, right?
Yes.
That are relatable to that culture, but the Green Book won a bunch of awards because the white guy's the hero. You know, they're the at the end of the day, they're like the savior.
Speaking from my opinion, my experiences, I don't really like going to movies for sure to go see those type of movies anymore, because those have been like our only story for so long, and I'm really appreciative of everything that happened in the past, but I don't want to always just see the when type of movies things like were fucking Book. Terrible. Like, I want
Is
to
that
see
what you're saying?
Movies when what?
Like movies like what? What type of movies?
Like those historical recounts. Like, I feel like every couple months we get something of back in the day, or like slavery movies, or like oppression, like civil rights movies. And I'm like, I like them. They're great. And I think they're important for people to know the history, but those aren't the only movies that we can be a part of. And that's not the only movie I want to see. So if I had a choice between that and Black Panther, I'm definitely going to see Black Panther. Like, I want to see us in different roles than what I've been seeing us in literally my entire life. And it's like 2019. I feel like we should have more stories. And I think we're getting there for sure. So that's why I think I don't personally go see those movies so much.
Yeah, no, I totally relate to that. Even with my background as an Iranian Muslim, a lot and an artist, a lot of artwork that gets a lot of attention are artwork about wars and oppression and basically that same narrative and that same rhetoric that white people are comfortable with talking about when they talk about us, you know. That's the narrative that they know, and that's the narrative that they feel comfortable with. But if you show work that is outside of that narrative, then they're not quite sure what to do with it. And I feel I relate to what you're saying, because I feel the same way. I'm like, I'm tired of seeing art about war. I'm tired about, you know, there's so much more to our people. There's so much more to our culture. There's so much more to our history than war and fucking, sadness and, you know, crying. And that's like a major influence in my work, is to make images that simply show a happy Muslim.
Yeah.
Like a happy, satisfied Muslim living day-to-day life.
Yeah. I mean,
doing regular things that any other person can do, but is not widely shown within the media, news, movies, TV shows, because that's not the Muslim rhetoric. That's not the Muslim narrative that they like to put out here in the West.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that, and I think that's a big reason why Black Panther was so big with the Black community, is because it wasn't just another guy that was oppressed or having to overcome a horrible life. Like, he came up great, like he was living great, like he was just a normal, happy person. Like, it wasn't like he had to go through all this bullshit that, you know, come from the ghetto, come from, you know, this, that, and the third, and to get there. And he was like just a normal, well, not normal, but he had a different start in life than what we always see in movies. But when I was talking about the Straight Outta Compton thing, it was relevant to me because this year, Bohemian Rhapsody took away a lot of awards from Golden Globe. And it's a movie that, like, it was stylish, it was cool, but it wasn't like a great, I wouldn't say it was like a great movie. And it's not one that was critically, like, even acclaimed for being a great movie. So to see it win as much as it did was a bit surprising to me.
You watched it? You watched the movie?
I've seen it, yep.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. I'll say it's good.
I've heard, one of the things that I appreciate is that the main character, the main actor in that movie, he's actually an Arab descendant.
Yeah.
You know?
Rami Malek.
And
he won too. He won Best Actor.
Say his name one more time?
Rami Malek.
Rami, yeah. And he's actually...
Mr. Robot.
He's actually you know, somebody from that culture, but also, what's his face? What's his name? Freddie? Right? Freddie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The guy who Bohemian Rhapsody is about.
Oh, Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie was also Middle Eastern descendant, and he was gay. So this movie was
awards bait.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, for this.
But
yeah,
I just don't think it was that good of a movie to win all these awards.
I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say.
It's enjoyable. I'll say it's enjoyable. Like, it's enjoyable. Rami Malek does a good job. I feel like actors who portray, like, famous people, like people as famous as this, and they just do a good job, they typically win awards, because even if you look or sound or act like that person, you're probably going to win an award from that. And he did a good job.
It's also hard to act out a character that's so well known.
Yeah, this is why. Yeah,
so
that's why
visible.
It's like when Jamie Foxx did Ray Charles. Like, that's why people love it so much, because it's like, that's such a big iconic musician to kind of portray and to do it as well as he did. So I'm not surprised. I'm not, like, super surprised that one, but to see this win and then, like, to see Straight Outta Compton get snubbed, and Straight Outta Compton's like 1,000 times better.
Straight Outta Compton is an old movie, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying at the same cycle, they didn't reward that for anything.
Yeah, but it's a different age you're talking about. When did that movie come out?
4 years ago?
4 years ago? Okay.
It's not that long ago.
Okay. Yeah, it was pre-Trump, though. It's a whole different era.
Is it?
It is. Yeah, it is. There's a pre-Trump era and a post-Trump era. It hasn't maybe been labeled that way yet, but it will be. In my opinion. Again, it's all my opinion, so whatever.
Well, those were just some of the takeaways I got from the Golden Globes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you guys have watched the Globes and you guys regularly watch the Globes, let us know what you thought about the night and the winners and any surprises or snubs. And is there anything that you think will be a front runner for the Oscars now because of this?
Yeah. I just gotta say, for me, I like that Remy won because it was a Middle Eastern descendant man. He may have not grown up in Egypt or wherever the fuck his parents are, but he represents that part of the world. And for him to win awards, even if the movie wasn't that good, it was still a big deal. And also seeing Sandra Oh, like, because she's such a funny, serious, strong woman. You know, she's so outspoken, like she's so forward. And to see her host that was a really big deal for me. But the Golden Globes is the Golden Globes, so they, like you said, it's not that much different than how it has been.
It's the Globes. They're important.
There's a formula,
kind of,
like you said.
You know, kind of important.
Probably used to be a bigger deal back in the day. Not so much now.
All about the Oscars now. But since we're talking about movies, I'm just going to stick with it. So over the break, I did get a chance to catch up on a lot of movies, though. I don't know if you guys got to catch any movies that you maybe have been behind on over the break or not.
We didn't watch too many movies. We watched the new Black Mirror. Did you see that? The interactive Black
I just
Mirror?
finished watching Black Mirror's the
episode?
episodes, TV shows. So I haven't gotten to the movie.
It's not a movie. It's like a new
interactive.
episode that came out.
Choose your own ending
Bandersnatch.
type of story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. You watched it?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
good?
we went through it.
Yeah,
Cool.
we tried to go through as many scenarios as we possibly could.
They said there's like 5 endings and like maybe 1 series or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It works just like those Goosebumps books.
Yeah.
Like if you ever read
Go to
them,
page.
Yeah, go to
28.
page. Like it's like it, but it doesn't. Yeah, it kind of, you know. But then, like, you know how there's like quick dead ends in the book, so like it's kind of just like that. Like kind of movie would be a quick dead end. But it's cool that they have shots for some of the quick dead ends.
Yeah.
So like even if it is like something like stupid and lame, they shot a whole
Scene for it.
Just even if it's just like a 30-second chop to something else. But
I mean, we're probably gonna have an article about this soon, but I think that it's definitely that format is going to be. I think it's gonna open a whole new lane in movies, like the film industry, for more movies and experiences like this.
yeah,
To be interactive.
I like that formula. I think it has a lot of potential. I think that because they did that now Netflix, or at least movies and independent artists, can actually produce alternate endings, but then but do things in a more creative, on purpose way, like where it's like where you can see breaks in the storyline. And it's like, what if it happened this way? And they give you both of those movies at a breaking point or something. So it's not just one scene that's like an alternate ending. It's like you get like
Branching
almost
paths.
2 separate branches. They could like they could literally create like 1.5 movies. You know?
I mean, I think it only makes sense considering people are already so tactile with the phones and the touching, and then you have the whole new format of just watching movies through like a streaming service, so you have control like that. So I for sure think it's going to be the future, not like all movies, but definitely like a specific lane for type of movies.
There's gonna be a wave where that's gonna.
There's
be
definitely gonna be a wave.
What was interesting though about this specific episode is that Netflix actually takes advantage of this moment, and there's and there's some points in the show where the character's like, I'm being controlled by some outside source.
So
he's addressing us, making decisions for him, and then at some point there's actually a point where you try to explain Netflix to the character, like the actual Netflix.
Yeah.
It makes you choose whether you tell him what Netflix is,
or
not. And he's like, "What's Netflix?" And then you're like, "It's this streaming online, blah blah blah, of the 21st century." Because the show is set
in the
before.
future. Yeah.
No, in the past.
I was in the past. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the past, so they don't have Netflix or streaming TV
Yeah,
shows online yet.
What is it like?
So it's interesting that Netflix kind of does a self-promotion in it.
I mean,
at the same time,
you putting money behind it, I'll give you a pass for that. It's not like you plug in like Coca-Cola or McDonald's.
It's not just you choose what the ending is, but you are actually made aware of your presence.
I like that because it kind of makes you feel like you're a part of the story. Show. So I like when they break the fourth wall.
Yeah, they give you a little. They actually do it real well because it is Black Mirror, where it makes you think about real world Twilight Zone shit. Mm-hmm. Like that one actually, by breaking the fourth wall, puts you into that player one seat and you actually are acting.
So is it I feel like it's like one of those, I don't know if you've been to the amusement park and you get in those little rides, those kind of VR rides where the shit moves around and you have the screen and the guy's talking to you and you go there and you do this, except that now you're actually interacting directly and controlling the story.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, but not the same.
It's not as exciting
because in the show,
but it could be.
If you pick an alternative experience, and if it's not the story they want to tell, they make you go back to the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can't go all the way off into a whole nother world.
I mean,
they still bring you back into their world.
Yeah, this isn't the very first attempt at this, but this is definitely the highest budget, biggest property. So it's the biggest test for this type of thing. And I mean, for me, I think say they have experience in the movie theater where it's a group thing where the entire group can decide on a certain choice and majority chooses and you do this and it's more interactive that way. And I think that would be an interesting way to kind of evolve film and kind of open up a new lane. And I think people would go to cinemas more if they had experiences like that where you can have a group thing where it's more of a, instead of everybody just sitting quietly but actually being involved in the story. I think that'd be dope.
If we reach to a point in technology where we can actually build the movie as we're going on, in terms of VR, virtual reality, while you're watching the movie and you're just my character wants to do this, and then it develops as you're developing through your mind.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's the future. But that would be cool.
I mean, I can only imagine for something like this, some technology experiment like this, I can't imagine a better property to do it with than Black Mirror, considering that's what their whole thing is about, technology. So I just finished Black Mirror, by the way, and there's some episodes I really love, and then there's some that I just don't like at all. Okay. Sometimes it's just nihilistic, just for the point of being nihilistic and fucked up.
Yeah, some of them are just okay, I got
some shit's just mean spirited and just shit, and it's not really a point to it. And then there's some that really say something, Yeah. So
definitely.
Yeah, so I binged that. So I haven't watched Bandersnatch yet.
You watched that Infinity War movie, the comic book movie?
Well, that's on Netflix, but we talked about that because we saw that.
Oh yeah, we definitely broke that down.
Well, it's a blockbuster movie.
Oh, okay, fine.
The new one's the new one's coming soon though.
Yeah, yeah, the new one is coming soon.
And they just released the trailer for it. Endgame, of course, it's gonna sell $1 trillion and be the most talked about movie of the year. But can't wait till that one comes out.
Definitely.
But before, I don't know if you've seen the new Jordan Peele trailer.
No.
I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
You have to watch it.
I've heard a lot about it, actually.
You gotta watch it.
He's making a movie?
He is making his follow-up to Get Out. It's not a sequel, but it's definitely in the same spiritual lane as Get Out, where it's like this psychological horror with racial
comedy
undertones.
Thriller. Yeah, cool, awesome.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it's coming out in March. I want to say March sometime. It's pretty soon.
Oh,
you gotta watch the trailer. It's good. He takes the 5 on It song and he turns it into a horror soundtrack. It's fucking dope.
Oh shit,
it's dope. I'm excited.
Okay.
He definitely looks like it's gonna be right up there with Get Out.
Word.
And he's got a pretty good cast, actually. So the guy from
Jordan's doing very well for himself as a director.
Very well, way better than I thought that he would be.
Oh yeah, we saw that Black Klansman that he did with Spike.
I did watch Black Klansman actually. That's one movie I did watch over the break.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's trippy. It's like an artsy movie, kind of.
Yeah. It's definitely structured like a Spike Lee movie too. I can kind of tell. Yeah. Especially the ending.
But I could see it. I could see that Jordan. I felt like he reined it in from going too theatrical, not going past the point of it being just this is part of the theater that we're overdoing.
Except for the ending.
Yeah, except for the ending.
He went full blown Spike on the ending.
I felt like Spike would have Chirac it, and Jordan was like, "Nah, we're not going to go Chirac."
He was close. It was a couple times.
It was close. It was close, but it wasn't. But he didn't go full Chirac.
But I'm just saying, the end was the full blown Spike Lee at the end. They even did the inside man, where they're not walking, but the camera's they're on a trailer and the camera's pulling him. Yeah, he did all that, full blown Spike.
Well,
but it was good.
Yeah, sorry. Black Klansman's not an artsy movie. Black Klansman is a pretty serious movie. What's the movie with the collar that we watched? That's an artsy, trippy movie.
What?
Oh, thank you for calling movie that I always say it the wrong way.
Sorry to bother you. I watched that too.
Yeah. That's a trippy movie.
It got a lot weirder than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
I kind of expected that when I seen the whole elevator thing and I was like,
all right. There's parts you for sure did not.
Okay, it's not the end. Obviously,
the
end. The way that the plot twists, that whole
that shit was out of left field, bro.
Wait, what's happening?
Wait, what the fuck?
This is what it was, and nobody said anything. I was like, wow, everybody kept that real secret. I didn't hear a word about this part.
I don't know how I felt about it, honestly. When that happened, it kind of took me out of it.
At the end,
it was almost too much.
But then it was just them being so literal because it was too much. But then it was making a point. It was like they're basically even though they're just workhorses. It was I'm literally making sure you're a workhorse for the rest of your life.
Too much, bro.
So I knew it was just crazy, but it was just them making it overt in a movie, but showing you if we could, we would literally make you horses to make you a workhorse, but and make sure you can't sleep, whatever the fuck. But yeah, no, that shit was wild as fuck. I wasn't expecting that.
When that shit happened, I was
I understood the metaphor.
What the fuck am I watching? What just happened, bro?
Yeah.
I thought they were on a great path, and then that shit happened. It kind of took me out of it.
I could see that. I could see how you would feel different once it got to that point.
Yeah, it felt completely different after that. What else did I see? I saw Hereditary finally. I don't know if you ever saw a movie.
No.
The horror movie with like the girl and then the mom.
Hereditary? No, I don't think I saw that.
We've definitely talked about it multiple times.
We talked about it. I remember you saying something about it, but I haven't watched a horror film in a while. I haven't watched anything.
Watch this one, bro.
Hereditary.
Yeah, it's hard to walk away from this one and
I
not
kind
feel
of miss
like
those movies. We used to go to the theater to
Because
go
I don't
shows.
like horror movies. Because once you see enough in your real life, you really don't need to go to a movie to see it. Because you don't really need it. I don't understand. It's like an American obsession.
I love
That's
horror
the
movies.
Grey's Anatomy theme.
Yeah, but
Why
that's
do I want
like
to watch people in the
I
hospital?
like
Yeah.
but I like
Everyday
drama.
life.
I like drama. I like stuff that makes me think about life and stuff.
Oh, this will make you think about life.
But
I guarantee this
I
shit.
don't like to see like stuff just to like make my insides turn. I don't want to see
All
that.
right, Doris, watch Hereditary, bro.
Check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
This shit,
Hereditary.
it makes you feel like it's definitely one of those movies like, yo, what the fuck? Like, by the end of it, you're just sitting there.
What's another horror movie that like I've probably seen that you feel like it's like that caliber? Like Hereditary is the caliber of another one.
Honestly, I can't. It's
No? Is it its own lane or is it just that good? It's its own lane.
it's its own lane. Like, it's not like a traditional horror story.
Yeah.
It's kind of dealing with like not witches, but occults and possession type of things,
I
but
like that kind of stuff.
in like its very own lane. I don't know. Have you seen The Witch?
That sounds mad familiar. I don't think I did see that. No.
It's kind of in that slow burn
okay.
type of way. Like, you're not necessarily sure what's real, but then when shit fucking jumps off, it's like full blown. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's
Okay.
a fucked up. At the end of it, I was like, just thinking about what the fuck I just saw for like the last 15 minutes. Like, it was legit. Like, I was like I've seen a lot of scary movies, so I don't like get scared of movies. So there's no point that like made me scared, but it's fucking unsettling. Like, it's one of the most unsettling movies you will see in the past decade, guaranteed. That shit was unsettling, bro. So I would definitely suggest Hereditary, because that was it's like one of those you just have to see. Just have to.
I don't know if there's anything else I watch.
Well, do me a favor real quick. Your camera, I'm not picking it up on my recording.
No?
Nope.
I tried to refresh it.
Yeah, try to refresh for me, yeah.
Apparently, that new movie that Sandra Oh is in is a horror movie, Killing Eve or something.
That's a
I
TV
haven't
show.
watched that yet.
It's a TV show.
It's a TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what she won the award for.
And it's not even really horror. No.
You watched it?
It's good. It's actually a good show. Like, a really good show.
Really?
Mm.
Cool.
Not horror. Not horror. It's actually pretty funny, some parts. It's like a fucked up funny, but it's funny.
I gotta see it then.
Yeah, I would watch it. It's not scary. You wouldn't be scared, I don't think. I don't know what your threshold for horror movies is, but I don't think you'll be scared.
I just don't like. I don't like unnecessary gore or like unnecessary.
Yeah, don't watch
fucked-upness.
Hereditary.
Like, I don't like watching like, rape or murder in a very like intimate way.
So
Like,
Saw
I don't like
is a
watching
no-go
it.
for you?
It's too.
The Saw movies.
It's too
She's never
close to
seen
home.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't need to see that stuff. You really don't. If you've been through anything close to that kind of stuff, you don't want to go watch it. But if you live in America and you live in La La Land, then you're intrigued by that stuff until it happens to you, and then you're not so intrigued.
Well,
That's my opinion.
there's a lot of different horror type of movies out there, though. So, I mean, if we're talking like...
Yeah, I like mystery. I like drama. It's not like I'm like, oh, I want to watch a happy comedy, romance comedy or whatever. I like mystery and drama. I like movies that deal with war or, real life type of situation, like in not a gory way, where they express the sentiment and they express the deepness of it without showing you all the gross blood and the the traumatic stuff. You don't need the traumatic stuff, in my opinion.
Okay, agree to disagree.
You can hint at the trauma. But you don't need to visually show the trauma.
Depends.
I can make you feel it, and I can make you cry without showing you it.
Depends. It really depends, I think. I agree there's points, some movies that go too far.
Yeah.
Like Saw started just getting into the just straight gore of things. But
I mean, after they like made it a franchise.
Yeah, once they franchised it was just like
a franchise.
Torture porn movie.
That they're just throwing it. I mean,
it was a torture porn movie at that point, and it was just not
basically.
even scary or interesting. But the first two were damn good.
Yeah. Those ones were scary. And then after that, people went because they really enjoyed that kind of stuff. So it wasn't scary. It was just like, oh, shit, look at that. Like, it's like, it's intense. It's crazy. So, I mean, that shit is crazy.
It is.
That shit is wild. But, I mean, the drama in those can get crazy. Just like between, like, the relationships between people and how, like, sometimes you never see something coming and shit like that, but yeah.
Just go watch Hereditary. Trust me on that. And then tell me what you think about it. Like,
have you started This Is Us yet?
The TV show?
Yeah.
No.
That's not a horror movie.
No.
That's more like a drama show. It's really a family show. It's a family show.
Yeah, it's a family drama.
Yeah, you would watch it with your family.
You
could watch it with your family. Like, you probably, like, if you were by yourself, that was probably not the first thing you would want to watch.
Well, I watched Event Horizon with my brother and mother, so not sure what your definition of a family movie is. Mine.
I don't know. I've never seen that movie. I'm just saying this TV show is a show that you can watch with your family.
I know. I'm just saying, my family, we watch different movies together and shows together.
About general. We're talking about like rated E for everyone, not like rated like Dario. Like
it's rated for, like, if you have kids in your family, you can watch this TV show with them.
Okay.
It's not anything that's gonna like be crazy.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, there's some dope stuff.
No, I mean, I've heard of it. I've definitely heard of it. I'm kind of noticed about, but
yeah,
it has Mandy Moore in it,
which is weird.
So how gory could it be?
It's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Right?
That's what I said.
It's like the 90s.
I was shocked when I saw her. I was like, "Is that Mandy Moore?" It's like, "Oh shit." And she's pretty good in this.
She does a good job, yeah.
This Is Us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Great show.
Maybe. There's too many shows out there, honestly. Probably won't get around to it.
There's a whole lot of shows. I like binge watch.
The thing about This Is Us is that they have really good... It's the way they make the show, because the stories are not new, per se, but the way they are cutting... The director of photography knows what he's doing. He's probably a younger person because he's developing each character in a very intimate way. So each character has a story and a backstory and a history and a future, and they go back and forth in time through the show.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be watching this show, and then all of a sudden you see the characters as young people, and then mid-aged people, and then older people, But it's not in a chronological order. Like, they go back and forth. within one episode.
Yep.
You know, and then they actually develop each character way more than most shows do. You know, most shows they have like one or two characters where they give you their whole story, and then everybody's just kind of there to cater to these two main characters. This show, everybody's kind of a main character at some point or another in the show. That's the interesting thing. That's why they're getting so much like love and like appreciation, because each character is developed and their story is told, and they're all an outsider and other in some sort of way. Most of them. Yeah. That's why it's kind of cool to watch.
Yeah. I might. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see. I just haven't watched like a sitcom type of show or one of those series in like a really long time. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to get around to it. But I've definitely heard about it. I know it's one of the most popular shows, especially in terms of like awards. And who's the black guy who was in it? Sterling something. But
Sterling K. Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very strong character.
Yeah, I know people talk about his performance a lot. So I've been, meaning to check out, but we'll see. I'm more into like Game of Thrones, which is almost upon us, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I can finally start it.
The final season, right?
The
final season.
Second to last season.
Oh, I saw like posters of it in the subway.
It's finally here. Finally here. It's got this season and then next year. Okay. And then there's a prequel coming, so it's not over yet. But
nice.
These next two seasons are about to be lit. And I can't wait. But I mean, the last three movies I did want to talk about, I caught up on. I finally watched Venom, and I finally watched Solo. And I watched Aquaman and Predator on top of that. Predator was terrible. Let me just say that right now. That franchise has been...
It looked terrible. I don't know why they're still making those.
It's the classic thing of, hey, you remember this thing? You like this thing? How about the super version of this? Like, it's twice as big, twice as fast, twice as strong. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, it's Jason in space.
Not as bad as nowhere near as bad as Jason X, but it was pretty fucking bad. It was definitely not.
I haven't seen it, so
it was not good. They don't know what the fuck they're doing with that franchise. Solo, or I watched Venom. Venom was...
I've heard really mixed reviews about Venom.
I actually enjoyed it. Enjoyed it, yes. It's not objectively a good movie, but it's damn enjoyable. And if you like Venom, and you like Venom doing Venom shit, like in a accurate way,
yeah. Oh, really?
You'll enjoy this movie. And Tom Hardy's actually really good in it. And
it makes sense that Tom Hardy would be Venom.
It's like it's like a generic comic book movie, but Venom carries the movie, and Venom is fucking good in the movie. So that's the whole point of watching it. So I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And it made a lot of money, so we'll get a sequel, and hopefully it'll be better.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Do you think they'll introduce Carnage?
Yeah, well, spoilers, but it's been out for a while. The Easter egg at the end was Carnage being introduced.
Oh, okay.
And it was Woody Harrelson playing the guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to play it the way that the old, like the story with Venom and Carnage.
Similar. They already set it up kind of.
Well, then I already know the end, and I don't even want to watch the movie now. No, I'm just kidding.
You'll probably like it, bro. Honestly, like if you're looking at it as like from a critical standpoint, like.
I'm not gonna look at it.
But if you look at it as
there's no way they could do what I would want it to look like justice, because my shit would be like, it'd be a cross between like Dark Knight and The Watchmen, and like, but with like Venom in it. So then it'd be even crazier. I don't even know, but
if you want to see Venom, like real Venom, not the Spider-Man 3 Venom, you're gonna enjoy this movie. That's
The
all.
Spider-Man 3 version. That's not real.
Terrible.
That's not even a real
And then I saw Aquaman over the week break in theaters.
Okay,
Much.
I've heard that's
Honestly, it was one of the better DC movies they've made, and it was so
really?
much better than I expected it to be.
Oh, then I gotta see it. Somebody didn't like it that I know.
I mean, I can see where somebody might not like it, but I enjoyed it, and it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And he was so much more badass than I thought they could ever make him.
I thought they were turning this out to be like the most badass version of Aquaman that it could
It's
ever
basically Jason Momoa, so
be. Yeah.
it's basically him playing him. Like, it's not like he's really playing Aquaman. He's Aquaman playing Jason as Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
But
That's funny though.
it was good. So,
He's the perfect character for it.
and James Wan is actually a really good action sequence like director. So you get some dope moments in there. And then the last one I finally saw Solo.
Yeah. How was that?
Have you seen it?
Never ran around to- Still never got around to it, man. I never heard a whole lot from. Nobody talked about it, bro.
It was.
I was supposed to watch.
Nobody did ever really talk
No.
about it.
It just came and went, which is surprising for a Star Wars property. But
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Was it good? You saw it? Was it good?
it was. I was expecting the absolute worst. So it was better than that. But it wasn't like, man, I want to see that again. You know, it was just kind of like, well, that happened. Didn't really need this, you know. It was one of those moments like, I didn't really need this. But I will say there is a Darth Maul cameo at the end, which was fucking sick.
oh, word?
Yes.
I might have to see it just for that.
Just for that.
Just for the Darth Maul
Yeah.
cameo? That sounds lit.
I mean, I would say like the guy doesn't do a terrible job as Solo, but it's
As soon as
like,
I
how
saw
can you
that he
play
was Han
it-
Solo,
like,
I was like,
how
oh,
can you
this is a
not,
waste-
how can it not be Harrison Ford? Like, it's just like, come on.
It looked like a waste of time, bro. I just couldn't do it.
I mean, as you
I was
see,
like-
people don't talk about it. It just kind of came and then went, and it was just. Yeah.
If the movie's called Han Solo, in the biggest actor draw is Mace Windu, or I mean, and not Mace Windu. I said Mace.
Lando Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian. Then if Lando,
Donald
is
Glover
his
was dope
big
in there.
draw, huh?
Donald Glover was good in there. He was good.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If the supporting actor is the major draw of the movie, and then the trailer didn't even like have anything exciting in it. It was just like it looked like stock footage.
Yeah, it was just like it was just one of those.
Like
I didn't really
tell me anything.
I didn't really need this. Like,
Yeah, so I don't know.
who was really asking
Alright.
for this? You know, it's just one of those. Like,
I think they just made a movie so Childish could be in Star Wars.
I'll say it's better
Like, I want to be in
than.
Star Wars.
I liked it more than Force Awakens.
Oh really?
I hate Force Awakens. You know this.
Force Awakens is so bad though.
This
That was like I walked out. I was like, this is the worst Star Wars I've ever seen.
it's the first relaunch,
Um,
like the very first of these new ones.
of these new ones, I don't know. I feel like it's the one where nothing happens.
It's the one where they copied Episode 4 almost beat for beat, except with different
that's
characters.
why it was so annoying. Because I was like, why are we watching the same shit over again?
And then
I don't
the second
get
one
it.
came, and the second one tried to basically erase everything the first one did, and it's their own shit. It was just, bro, it's just new trilogy's trash.
It was a clumsy roll. I didn't know what they were trying
Aren't
to
they?
do.
But aren't they like created by different people? I think they're directed.
Yeah,
by
different
people.
directors, everyone,
Yeah,
everyone.
that makes a difference.
A huge difference. And then for the third one, they rehired this first director from the first movie. So it's just like J.J. Abrams, which stop giving him these fucking franchises, please. Like,
That's why
he has no original ideas. None.
Oh, see, that's so funny because the second one was the one that I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is gonna be cool.
It was better, but it wasn't like.
No, it was just better. That's all. It wasn't good. In terms of
Basically, they
Star Wars.
raised all these questions in the first one, and then the second one doesn't answer any of these questions and basically destroys what the first one even tried to set up. and ignores all that shit. And then,
Well,
but then they rehire the guy who made the first one. It's like, bro, this is a fucking mess. Like, what are we doing? It's supposed to be a trilogy, and I don't know how the trilogy is gonna end. It was just they killed the way they did Luke Skywalker was terrible. Like, I could just go on about this shit.
that Luke Skywalker thing, that was atrocious.
It's just an atrocious franchise at this point.
It seems like they're clout chasing.
They're money chasing. Fuck off. They're money
chasing
chasing.
the bag. Yeah, they're just throwing the bag out. They already got the clout, so it's not clout chasing.
What's happening is
it's
getting diminishing returns if you look at Solo. So they need to figure some shit out. But yeah, those are movies I caught up on over break from this past year. I really didn't miss out on much this year. I don't think it was a very strong year for movies.
No, there wasn't a whole lot of huge things. I still got to see that Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper movie.
I feel like
Star is Born. I heard that was really good.
I feel like I don't need to because people have been talking about it so much.
I don't know, man.
I heard that was really good.
I saw the music video that they had for their single and stuff.
The music was really good.
So then I was like, oh, this is probably going to be dope. Because I know Lady Gaga took it hella serious. So it's like, she'll probably like outact Bradley. And he's like acting and directing. And
if there's 100 people in the room and nobody believes in you, there's one person that believes in you, and that's Bradley Cooper.
It was just a bit.
She said
it was just a bit cheesy for me. That's why I was never excited. I was like, this is a bit cheesy, and it's clearly going to do well because Lady Gaga is finally acting.
Cheesy, but it was good though because it's still. I don't know. It seemed interesting. Everybody likes to. I don't know. It's just cool. Music industry. It's got a love story. Boom.
Maybe I'll catch it this New Year's coming up.
Lady Gaga is though she's a hyperly emotional person, so I can see her being fun to watch because she could probably really get into any character she's in, you know, like really into it. So I think that would be entertaining to watch her. I think she would be convincing.
I mean, it's definitely a front runner for the Oscars in a lot of categories because of the buzz around it. So I could definitely see it doing that.
She won a Golden Globe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
Apparently her dress is a big deal. Everybody liked her outfit. I don't remember. It was like
it's
some
big blue. Big blue puff ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Puff.
That's word on the street.
I have no idea what people look like, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
don't know.
Bradley Cooper had way too much makeup on. I'm just gonna say it. At the Golden Globes, he looks like a baby that has been powdered.
You gotta look younger. Gotta
look
keep
at the
that
pictures.
keep that youthful age.
Uh-huh.
He looks like he has way too much makeup on, and that maybe he got some like collagen or some sort of injections right before the show.
They all do.
He really does, though. You gotta look. Comment on what you think he got done before the show.
Oh my god, that's fucked up. Oh, you got people insinuating on if somebody has surgery on their face or not before the.
Why not? They do it to women all the time. Why not do it to Bradley Cooper?
I mean, I have nothing against it. Go ahead. To your heart's content.
I'm like, word. If there's a hype for it, they'll do it.
But so let's go to the last main topic of today's podcast. So for those that have not seen the article yet, it came up, I want to say, a day or two ago. It's called Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K, and the Problem with Thin-Skinned Comedians, written by Steven Silver, one of our frequent collaborators and content creators for our website. And it brings up some interesting topics, especially considering all the news and what is going on. So we're going to talk about that and kind of give our opinions about this entire situation. And I'm going to lay it out for people now that have not read the article, in general, he talks about Kevin Spacey and his whole situation going on with him being criminally charged and last year getting removed from his show and basically getting blackballed from Hollywood and filmmaking, maybe forever, who knows. But he's definitely not getting any work right now. Like, he won't be getting work anytime soon. And then he compares it to Louis C.K. situation where it's been less than a year since his whole situation with coming to find out that he likes to jerk off in front of women and coworkers that he worked with. And it's been less than a year and he's already back working out new material, supposedly for some new upcoming show. And he got, I'm sure you guys have heard, but he's been catching a lot of flack for a lot of the shit that he said in there, which he touched on everything from the school shooting victims to PC culture to, pretty sure he threw in some about transgenders, just a bunch of
gender pronouns
and
a lot
of very sketchy subjects in general to touch on, and he goes full blown and goes after all of that. And he kind of presents his question as to why of how there's two arguments now, where one side's kind of saying that he shouldn't be able to get back on stage and do this, like Kevin Spacey is not able to get back into work and do this. And then on the other side, there's the pushback, mostly from comedians, in that the culture has become too PC, too politically correct, and that comedians in particular have that right to say and do things in the pursuit of comedy, and they should have that kind of leeway to do as they, and kind of say as they please. And that because since he is an independent entertainer, that he should be able to go out and do what he does, and it's up to the audience to kind of decide on whether or not he's allowed back in.
Support it or not.
So that is the general gist. It is a long article, and it is a deep topic, and it's one that's been going on at least for the past 2 years at least. And, we're just kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
I think, like, the whole controversial thing with comedy has been a topic for way longer than 2 years. Like, comedians who make black jokes, comedians who make jokes about Muslims, comedians who make jokes about whatever, they've always had, like, this open pass
as it is now.
They've always had this open pass to make jokes about it. The problem with Louis C.K. is not, the controversy that started with him is not because of a joke he made. Mm-hmm. It's because of something he did outside of that venue, outside of that space.
Yes.
That's what started the issue. It wasn't about his comedy. So I think the whole comedy thing, you should be able to, you're making a joke. So, you should be able to make as fucked up of a joke that you possibly can. Dave Chappelle also got into controversy for making transgender jokes and rape jokes, and he came back and made rape joke again, but about a man this time. You know what I mean? And, like, that's something comedians do. Like, that's not the issue here. I don't think that him making jokes is the issue. It's what he did outside of that is the issue. Like, yes. That's where he had the problems, and he didn't. I feel like it's what you said. It's up to the audience whether they support him or not. If they find his fucked up jokes funny, then that's just representative of them. In the society we're living in, it's not like anything that I think he should be. And again, it's like it's more of an independent, comedy is more of an independent field rather than movie making like Kevin Spacey, where there's a whole production, a whole crew, it's a way bigger budget, way more money behind it. That's a different story. You can't even compare the two, honestly. The only thing that compares them is like that they're two white guys, and at the end of the day, they're going to get away with it.
Well, he is kind of comparing, that, not necessarily saying that the audience is at fault, but that the club owners and promoters are at fault.
Which makes sense. Because part of
Because if they wanted to make a stand and say
safety.
he can't perform here, they could say that, but they won't.
Well, a lot of the disputes are with female comedians. So if Louis C.K. is coming to do a show and say he walks by one of his like victims, like or like who's to say he's not going to do that to a female comedian who just gets offset and he starts talking to her? Is she going to feel uncomfortable because Louis C.K. is weird and we're backstage now? So those are things that the venue is essentially ignoring by allowing him, to come through.
I mean, I also want to say I think that Louis C.K., like the clip that we watched, is way fucked up. How he's making fun of transgender people and all this is like unnecessary, and he obviously doesn't get it because his jokes are misinformed and ignorant, and the people who are laughing at them are also misinformed and ignorant, but that's how it always is. Like, people make jokes about Muslim people all the time. These comedians make jokes about Muslims all the time, blowing up shit, being terrorists, whatever, and nobody says anything about that. Nobody's gonna like debate about whether they give them the club that night or not. No, they don't care. So if you want to make misinformed, ignorant jokes to misinformed, ignorant people, go the fuck ahead. You have freedom of speech. This is the USA. Like, yeah. And if the business club owners think they can make money, then this is America. That's what it's about. Like, the movie people probably feel like it would be a giant flop if they starred Kevin Spacey in.
Yeah, of course.
The movie. They would not make money.
No.
They wouldn't. So it's an obvious business decision.
And it's a different culture, and comedians, they kind of circle up when a comedian is being attacked. They definitely circle up and kind of
they're more like a union in the
defend
comedy
them
field.
as comedians,
But again, the reason why Louis C.K. was being attacked is not because of his comedy. The reason why, what's his face, that guy, the Indian kid, Aziz Ansari is being attacked is not because of his comedy. It's because of conduct outside of that, in their personal life or professional life outside of the stage. That's different. Kevin Spacey is not being, held back because of something he did on a movie or something he said in an interview. It's because of, stuff he did out in his personal life.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I don't think that Louis C.K. is doing this because he's misinformed or doesn't understand. I think he's doing the comedy that he's doing now, which is actually, he's always done kind of dark humor, but it's never been like it is now. Like, now it's just spiteful.
No, yeah.
It's just
trying to like relate to the dads of the world, or like, before he kind of seemed like he was trying to like keep it like gritty but comfortable and like relatable, and now he's just like, I'm gonna talk about wild shit.
Now it's just spiteful. Now it's just spiteful.
But he's
now
always
it's
been
kind of
that
like
way.
a fuck you.
No, his comedy's always been that way. I used to be a fan of him. I used to actually watch his comedy show. He was like one of the only white middle-aged dudes that could make me laugh out loud. Like, he's always been this way. His comedy has always been slightly off.
But you're telling me his jokes
up.
have felt as hacky
comedy,
as they are now? His jokes, like the jokes he told, they weren't even funny. They just sounded hacky as shit. Like,
but yeah, you
heard
that
that
2-minute clip. That was 2 minutes.
I didn't laugh at all.
That was 2 minutes, and it was like punchline after punchline.
Yeah, that was his
punchline. Like, that's not his.
You're right. This was
just,
like his like.
And it's 45 minutes long. That was just 2 minutes. And we were like, what? He said a whole lot of shit. Like, and like that.
Like, it was just to be mean.
Oh, I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Yes, exactly. It was just out of spite. It was a spiteful.
He said. And he said so much crazy shit. Like, I was trying to listen to the 45-minute thing, and apparently it was out here in New York, and like, yeah, but whatever. I was like, he said some shit, and I was like, why didn't I see any of these things? But I was like, he just said so much stuff that's like, they're just letting him, we can't burn him for everything. At least he's getting burned, I guess, because like,
he's trash, honestly. He doesn't even deserve this podcast at this point.
I mean, it's not just about him, because there's a whole situation going on with people, with entertainers in particular, who have such big impact on people's like lives, and people were like fans and like looked up to them, going through these situations, and people are finding themselves wondering like, when like should I not support any of the stuff they did or anything that they do?
Speaking of
or
that,
what's the point?
Topic,
like what's the line
I have
now?
to bring up the R. Kelly.
Oh yeah, I was about to. We have
documentary. Yeah, I was like, this is like you have to be. I was like, everyone's talking about this right now. But
so that's what I'm saying. It's not just him. He's like a symptom of this, but it's him. Then there's R. Kelly. Then there's Kevin Spacey. Then there's even Kevin Hart, who's going through his whole situation.
It's important to notice that these people are men, and if they're not men, they're white women. I think it's really important to notice that. I just wanted to say that.
I want people to notice that, like, it's only being talked about because people are, like, this is the most, like, open and able people are that were victims are, like, able to, like, voice, like, their, like, their traumas, you know? And, like, before, because, like, there's stories since the end of time, any of the greatest, like, I heard stories about Marlon Brando. Apparently Marlon Brando is, like, the king of Me Too. He's, like, as bad as Harvey
Sinatra.
Weinstein.
Yeah, I mean, if
So,
you
like,
go back
like
to that time period, that's
like,
everybody.
So that's what I'm saying.
Everybody.
So, like, we have legendary stats for all these things, but we're not going to tarnish the ones that are gone now because they're gone now. So they can't, you know, we can't.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
But can we get?
Because look.
Material?
This just happened. This just happened over Christmas with the song "Baby It's Cold Outside." How long ago did that song come out?
How that song is about
and now, and for so many years, no problem. And now people have come out and saying,
yeah, but
basically
I don't
destroyed
with that. That's history.
Right. So this is what I'm saying. So when, like, what's the line?
There is
no sign?
The line is constantly going to be pushed further out.
So something that is historical from like 60 years ago, of course, it's not going to be up to today's cultural standards, right?
No, it does. It's not going to meet our cultural standards. A lot of things. I mean, there's only very few things that can surpass the time.
So are people going to systematically go back and take down all of these historical people? Because I guarantee they were all fucked up people.
Yeah, I don't think take down in terms of erasing them is the proper way to deal with it. I think they should still be mentioned and talked about, but they should be mentioned and talked about in our language, in our today's language. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should be called out. Yeah.
So there's as
a woman, like somebody who doesn't have equal rights to this day, like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous that in my mind, as a human, as a person, I feel equal to you, but in society, I'm not. Even though you have darker skin, even with that, I'm still not equal to you. You still are taken more seriously and are respected more in whatever career field, anything outside, grocery store, street, anything on the bus. Anything, you're taken more seriously than I am and more respected than I am because I have a vagina. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this for fucking ever until that doesn't exist anymore. And I'm going to call out all the people in the past who've put my head underwater this entire time.
So that's
I'm going to talk
everybody.
About it. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if there's issues where, I mean, sexism is a worldwide issue, and it's almost at 100%. You know, all males are sexist, absolutely, and women are also sexist. Females are also sexist. They can be because we lived in a sexist world and we lived in a sexist society, and that's how we understand the world around us is through these frameworks, this racist, sexist framework. And yeah, that's how we live our life. Yeah, that's real. I have to deal with it every day. I see it. I take it in and try to push back, but there's only so much you can do without making yourself a target, you know? So, yeah, there will always be these lines. There will always be these corrections made by future generations, by our children, by all children who are being like, no, what you said in this podcast, Dario, is not what I think anymore. That's the past.
Okay, I hear you, but listen.
That's life.
So when's the point? So anything you ever say in your life, anything you ever say in your life will always come back to haunt people now. So like, I don't agree with that.
It's not that you're haunted by it, it's that you should be open to constantly learning. There is no point in your life where you should feel that you got it.
Here's the Kevin Hart situation. Do you agree with the Kevin Hart situation?
The Kevin Hart situation?
Yes.
Where he cheated on his wife.
No, right? That's not the situation I'm talking about.
What situation?
About the Oscars.
What happened at the Oscars?
Hosting the Oscars. They pulled up old...
From 8 years ago that he already apologized 8 years ago for.
To make fun of him? It was a joke?
No. To
jokes that were
boycott him and to say he should never work again.
Boycott him to not.
Oh, he was homophobic. Oh, I
From
just
8
recently.
years ago.
That was recent, right? Because I just saw something that he put out a formal apology to the LGBTQ.
After he said he wasn't going to apologize. But then he apologized. And then he re-apologized.
Yeah, he should. Why not?
He apologized.
Because he already did 4, 5, 6 times.
He apologized.
Yeah, but
at what point do you accept the apology and accept somebody being a better person than they were from 10 years ago? Like, at what point is there time for you to actually accept the apology instead of just being angry and trying to take him down? Because then what's the point? What's the point of the process? Because if you just try to erase people and erase.
Not erasing people.
No, they want to erase people. This is what people are doing now. They want to erase people from society, but these are still people. They're not gonna go anywhere.
About them erasing, they're not erasing them. They're just changing the way you think.
No, when you say you should never work again, you should erase everything you ever did. You should never work again for saying something like this. That's trying to erase somebody from society.
No, it's trying to stop them from gaining money from being racist or sexist.
First of all, you barely get paid from the Oscars. Second of all, he apologized multiple times already. And there was no problem. It was never brought up before. But the moment he gets a high profile thing, then it gets dug up. So every time you make a step in life, something comes back regardless of if you apologize, regardless if you've made changes in your life, regardless if you've made changes in your behavior. That doesn't make sense to me. Because then at some point...
It does make sense. That's human nature.
No, because...
It's human nature. We all are growing and changing, right? And we're not in, like, the limelight, you know? But there's shit that I thought or said or did 10 years ago that now, if he showed me, I'd be so embarrassed and be like, oh my God.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So they just happen to get this because they're under a microscope and everything is being recorded, right? So that's human. That's human.
It's not even trying, at that point to me, it's not even trying to correct an issue. To me, at that point, what they're doing is just trying to punish, trying to be vindictive. And there's a difference between trying to teach somebody and trying to say there's a better way of doing something. And then there's just being vindictive and being spiteful. And just getting your anger out.
Definitely in a call-out culture.
And there's a line. And I think the line is getting too far into just calling out and trying to dig up shit from everybody, every single person that's ever done anything in their life. Because for punishment.
Is the sensationalism of the internet. Everybody's going to run with the first thing. Like, the lie.
And they know they can do this because these people are celebrities.
You know, as a person, like... There's been scenarios in my experience, my personal life, that like 5 years ago, this professor said something really racist to me about Muslims. And he or she may feel differently now, but in my mind, forever, they will be that person who said that to me and made me go home and cry. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
And in 10 years, if I do an interview and they ask me about this person, I'm going to call that motherfucker out. I'm going to say, there was a lot of people who did not support me, who made fun of me, who discouraged me, and took away my power, who tried to take away my power. I'm going to say that, even 10 years, even if that person comes out and says, oh, I was ignorant, I didn't think that, I'm still going to say it's part of my history. It's part of my life. It's part of the reason why it made me angry enough to move forward in the first place.
So here's,
It depends. Call out culture is a thing. People are calling people out. It really depends.
Imagine if all these people calling people out were called out for their bullshit in their past.
Yeah, but Kevin Hart is way more influential person.
Exactly. So it's not even the point of making a better society. It's just the point of punishing people in positions of influence.
No.
So what's the point?
Yeah, it's not punishing people. It's about
you're trying to.
It's about keeping people in positions of influence in check.
Well, you have to,
that's not keeping somebody in check.
You have to realize
you're creating more pushback. People are creating more pushback than they are
but
progress.
But you understand the term deterrence.
No.
Yes.
Kevin Hart is still rich. Come on.
No, I'm saying they are going to create more pushback from those people that they're trying to teach and make better than they are.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The deterrence is by showing them it's basically a public announcement. Whoever they let get fucking torn down and for what they get torn down for lets all people know that this is a thing.
Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times. But the 20th, 30th, 40th time, nobody's gonna give a fuck no more.
You get publicly executed. Oh, so what is this? That it's literally walking the famous guy down, the street in handcuffs because we caught him kind of shit.
No, but also I think that you should be able to call out these people without repercussions. Because that's a dictatorship. If not, these people in position and who are in power and who are...
I've never said that you shouldn't be able to. You feel free to call out whoever you want. But I'm saying, what's the purpose at that point?
But also, don't just consider, both of us should not just consider either just from the because we all know there's levels of what people are calling people out for. But
they call people out for a bunch of bullshit now.
But that's what I'm saying, is your argument is coming from thinking about the bullshit examples. And your example is coming from the extreme correct example. So you're arguing each other about the extreme. Let's come to the middle.
Because when the extreme is starting to become the norm, and it keeps happening over and over and over again, people are going to stop responding in the way that you would hope they respond, and they're going to start responding in an angry pushback way. This is what I'm saying.
No, but the lies are being exposed. The liars are being exposed.
Are they? Not necessarily. Yeah. There's still a lot of liars out there.
Remember Nelly? Nelly was exposed. Nelly, and then that went away because it was false.
Even
even a lie will ruin people. What do you mean? Even a lie nowadays will ruin people. What are you talking about?
No, Ellen DeGeneres was recently called out for not being nice because she's known as such a nice person.
She was she was also just called out for being nice, being too nice.
Literally, Ellen DeGeneres just said no, I don't want to take a picture with you today, and then all of a sudden she got called out for being a mean, bitchy person because she's known to be the nicest fucking person ever, right? Even on that level.
Look, all I'm saying is we're approaching Black Mirror levels with the rating of people and the public shaming of people. It's getting out of fucking control because people know that
it only looks like
people feel like they have power now, and now even making a false accusation is almost just as bad as just being accused is almost enough now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but your outrage doesn't necessarily reflect what's happening. Like we're saying, Louis C.K. is still doing shows.
Yeah.
Niggas that getting accused of shit that they actually admit to. Louis C.K. admitted to masturbating in front of these women. So that's the thing, too. It's he said, yeah. So this is the thing. So it's some of the cases are we don't even know. But with that, he's still just out here. So the thing is, they have to get extreme because niggas is just out here.
But
Why isn't Weinstein in jail yet? Niggas is still out here. Like,
yeah.
that's why. It's like, yo, can we get some closure from some of this shit? Otherwise, we're just going to keep going. We need closure from somebody. And they're going to give, hey, they're throwing R. Kelly right into the fire. He's going to be the first one before Weinstein, I bet.
But at the
He'll
same
go to jail
time,
first.
you should be able to call out people who are very wealthy in position of power and influence. You should always be able to call them out, and they should be able to give you an answer. And that's part of that. That's just
Do you
part
really
of
think
being
they
in that
care about the
position.
answer? I don't think they give a fuck about the answer.
Who's there?
People calling
No,
people
they just
out.
they care about the reaction.
I don't think they care about the
Yeah,
I don't think they
if you
care.
react
They don't
to
care
them.
about the answer.
If Louis C.K. came out,
He gave you an answer.
more of
They
an
don't care.
apologetic way and was making jokes about not the stuff he was making jokes about, people would probably be more open to him.
I don't think so.
But because he was just like, "Fuck you guys," people are pissed.
I don't think so because Kevin Hart literally did that 8 years ago. People have not been more open to him. They've still did this.
Kevin
But
Hart.
what does that have to
Kevin
do
Hart,
with...
in my opinion, Kevin Hart. Like from what I hear, Kevin Hart's cool. Like nobody's like hating on him as much as they're hating on Louis.
Kevin
Of
Hart's
course,
not
not as much as Louis C.K. Louis C.K. was a different
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's
situation.
not canceled or anything.
Yeah, Kevin's fine. He's just like he just got into like regular trouble.
That's regular backlash. That's
yeah,
celebrity
like
backlash.
I don't feel like
That would happen.
that's not the feeling
That would
I
happen
get.
regardless.
I don't get that
No.
he's being blacklisted. I don't get the feeling that
It didn't
he's
happen
being
with Chris Rock.
morally-
That was only, 4 years ago?
Yeah, but then there was backlash.
Chris Rock has said way
Dave
worse shit than
Chappelle
Kevin
got
Hart.
more backlash than
Chris Rock got backlash
Kevin
for his
Hart.
monologue. For his opening monologue of hosting, he got backlash.
Did he get? Did people boycott him when he was getting the Oscar job? No, they didn't.
I mean,
Did they pull up shit from his stand-up routine 10
When's
years
the
ago?
last time you saw
Did they
Chris
pull?
Rock?
Hold on. Did they pull up shit from his
Chris
stand-up
Rock? When's the
routine
last
20
time you
years
saw Chris
ago
Rock?
when he was saying outrageous
When's the
shit?
last time
I
you
don't
saw
even
Chris Rock?
remember.
Exactly. So I don't know what we're talking about. It was the Oscars, I think. So I don't know what we're talking about. I haven't seen him, and I don't know what's going on.
What you talking about?
So I'm just talking about
But even
visibility
just, like,
after backlash.
R. Kelly's gotten some real.
Oh, we never talked about that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely levels, and I don't think people even respect that there's levels to that shit. Like R. Kelly's on a whole another level.
I get why you get frustrated. I mean, I get your frustration because I also say a lot of shit that people are like not totally kosher with, and I get backlash for saying things like
Oh, I don't
that.
care about backlash. Should I say? I'm just saying in general, it's
I
becoming
get backlash
too
for saying
much.
that I think it's fucked up to own dogs in the United States. I get backlash for that. That's fucked up. People here think I'm like demonic for saying that I think you're fucked up for keeping a dog in your apartment all day.
Have you heard,
But I still think it's fucked up.
Reese? Have you heard? Did you hear the Kevin Hart joke that they were all pulling up and talking about?
Oh, I have not heard the Kevin Hart jokes.
You have heard it for sure. It was from
I mean, I
one
probably
of
heard the Kevin
earlier
Hart jokes, but
stand-ups.
I didn't go to it like, oh, which one's the joke they're talking about? Like, if it was years ago, I've heard it because I watched the whole thing. Like,
You've definitely heard it. I'm gonna pull it up right now. It was in 2014.
2014. That feels like forever ago.
It really does. That's my whole point.
found a tweet from 2000.
Oh, that's when he said something
It,
about.
it was in a
Yeah.
stand-up routine.
Stand up. Oh, from one of his.
Yeah, from one of his stand-ups.
Yeah.
I can't find the exact joke,
how
but
certain things were acceptable in our culture. In
okay.
2014
So
are not acceptable
we're gonna talk
today.
about this one. So
that's the fucking beauty of it all.
Here, I can't find the exact joke, but I can tell you the gist of it was basically saying that as a father and having a son, he fears his son growing up and being gay. Like in a joke. I can't tell the exact joke because I don't remember the exact joke.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And it wasn't like in a spiteful way. It was more of like, as me, as an individual, that's one of the fears I have. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And to me,
I thought he was trying to say it the most PC way.
It was super PC to me. Like, it was extremely
tiptoeing
PC.
around it, laying it out soft. Like, it's just,
It's not like he came out and said, I hate gays or he just said, as a father, one of the fears I have is my son growing up and being gay. In a joke, like as a joke, however joke he set it up. I can't remember exactly how I set it up, but that's how he set it up. And to me, I don't understand the backlash on this.
Okay, so what if it wasn't Kevin Hart and there was some white dude and he said, I fear the day that my white daughter
they say it all the time.
Black man.
They say it all the time.
Yeah, right. But that's kind of equivalent to the joke. So would you be upset about that?
Not at all.
No. You would just
Why would I ever be upset about how you personally feel?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand this. Like, if you feel this way, like if somebody says, I'm like, it doesn't mean that I hate gay, like, it doesn't mean that person hates gay people if he says, as a father, I fear that my son is me, because he personally feels this way. Like, why would I get mad about how you feel?
Yeah. And there's a lot of
you can't have these feelings
that personally feel
and I don't care.
And
I really don't care.
Is cool with you.
I don't care.
This
is how you feel. This is how you feel.
Can I just, as a devil's advocate?
I'm just being a devil's
advocate. I just want to present the logic that the mind of someone being mad would present, which is always their logic, which is that on a public platform, it would essentially promote that type of understanding and might influence others to think that way specifically about
No, I think I'm more on Dario's side of things right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think like that. I'm just saying that's the only way it's in any way.
I just don't understand the backlash of this situation at all. Because this is how you feel. Like this is me trying to tell you, you can't feel this way. Like, okay, this is how you feel.
On
like,
stage,
I don't care.
No, Dario, nobody said he can't feel that way.
No, people have said, when people say, you can't do it, that's what you're saying. You can't feel this way. You can't express how you feel. So you're telling me you can't express how you feel.
About people.
Is this what you're saying?
You do by yourself, nobody knows about. If nobody else will ever know, then nobody else ever knows.
So you can't express how you feel. Is this what you're trying to tell me?
No, I understand what you're saying.
On stage, I'm just saying they're talking about the responsibility of
a comedian. Really? That's what we're talking about now?
Is a comedian a public figure?
We're talking about the responsibilities of a comedian.
Of public figures.
Of a comedian.
Okay, you're saying a comedian. What's a comedian?
Of a comedian. Like, I don't understand. Like,
I know what you're saying, but that's like...
What's your public responsibility? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. No, it's
because I'm a public figure, I have to be a role model for everybody? Is this what you're saying? What's like? What are you telling people what they have to be as a public figure? This is what it's coming to for me as a creator. You're telling me.
Yeah. I mean,
that's like saying as an artist because you're an artist. Look. You're an artist, but as a public figure,
I can tell you the circumstances.
Listen to me. You're an artist, so as a public figure, you can't express how you feel. If you feel a certain way, you can't express that way in your art. Because you're a public figure.
People coming to you and saying, "Are you saying all cops are bad?" People say that shit to you. Yeah. That's one of your backlashes. Like, are you saying all cops are bad? Are you saying you're anti-cop, anti-police?
Well, see,
that's something you get for making work.
The problem you two just used is images versus words because
images. People say images are more powerful than words.
But what I'm saying is legally. And the way and manner in which that's very subjective, is very hard to combine them into the same, like, vernacular and circumstances. I guess the visual language.
You said a public figure, and I said artists are public figures. So as an artist, that's like somebody telling you can't express how you feel.
Content maker,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Who has an influence.
And as
I'm not doing it.
But just like reverse that.
So, but that's
right?
what I'm saying is, like, who's promoting that idea that I created? What gallery put that up? You know, like the words, like what you're saying is, yeah, I could do that in my studio. But who's going to see the work? Like, the public part is what I'm talking about. I know the person who does the thing.
You can put up art, right? You put up art. Say you put up art in a public place.
What I'm saying is, you can do whatever you want. What I'm saying is, everyone just needs to be aware of the level of sensitivity. Because
it's too high.
The circumstances.
It's too high.
Like, don't do anything. It's too high. Unless you're willing to accept the consequences. My nigga.
What's the consequence? What consequences should there be for this?
Look at the internet. These are the consequences. Like, we can't be like, oh, this is bullshit. Motherfuckers will react. Yeah, they are. Yeah. They're gonna keep doing that. You seen the internet?
Okay, so you're saying accept the consequences. So what I'm saying is, what are the consequences? What are the consequences? What should the consequences be?
Technology works now. This is what it is with technology.
What should the consequences be? This is what I'm asking.
I think that the consequences should be a conversation. It should be a conversation. It should be calling out and a response and whatever that goes on after that. Like,
but do you honestly believe these people calling out their goal is to have a conversation?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what their goal is. The point is that if somebody comes to the Reese and says, "Do you hate all cops?" and he says, and then he explains his situation, and then I learn from that, being a bystander.
That's not how they come at people. They don't ask.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Hey, do you feel how about this? No, they come at you. They come to an employer. You should never work again. You shouldn't even be a part of society. That's not having a conversation. That's not starting a conversation.
No, that's not starting a conversation. It is starting a conversation. Maybe not in between those two.
That's not how you react. That's not how you get a conversation going. You're not going to get a good reaction.
That's how you get a conversation going.
That's not how you get a good reaction. That's not how you start a conversation.
Like, do you see there's a disconnect between conversations? He's talking about conversations and you were talking about the conversation. Yeah. So it
gets people talking about it. Right now, we are talking about this.
That's what she
means. This is a conversation that started.
This is a conversation.
The person implicating the public figure wants it. They might want to start the conversation for us to all figure out.
But now we're talking about it, and we're trying to figure it out, and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. This is a conversation starter. This controversy.
This is literally everybody trying to figure out what's fishy and what's too far by testing everything. It's literally everything. We're figuring it out right now. We're recalibrating.
We are. And shit like Twitter and internet has definitely
Twitter
made this shit a fucking shit show. I can tell you that right now. Like,
if there's anything happening,
imagine,
you look at Twitter first.
Imagine if there was no backlash. What would the world look like?
If there was no backlash.
If there was never any backlash, nobody called anybody out, and everyone was polite and like, oh, well, that's your opinion. I'm just going to sit here and think my opinion.
It probably wouldn't.
I don't disagree on backlash, but I do disagree when it's out of control.
I can see that.
There's always good, there's always bad that comes with the good.
There always seems to be some.
And I'm not even on the side of these people that you're saying. I'm just saying, like, it's actually going to do more harm to future backlash moments than it is to the person, because, like I said, at some point. Yeah, the first time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sure, you're going to get a reaction. Sure, you're going to get a conversation. But after a while, people are going to stop feeling like they need to change or they need to understand, or they're just going to be, fuck you. I'm pushing, like, fuck you. And it's just going to create a larger contingent of people saying fuck you and fuck this. That's all I'm saying.
I think you have to give people more credit. And I think people are pretty good at judging where they think it's okay, this is stupid. They're just like being vindictive, as opposed to...
I think this is how you get a Trump.
This is how you get a Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. So the thing about the Trump thing is because I think there wasn't enough backlash. I think you got a Trump because there wasn't enough backlash. Because there wasn't enough people speaking out, saying, this is fucked up, this happened to me, this guy did this guy did this guy did this. I think that's why that happened. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you do.
Nah. I don't. I don't. I definitely don't.
Lies! I saw it in your eyes.
I definitely don't. I definitely think he's a result of people pushing back. But, so my next question is, as a person, as like a creative person goes through these situations, can you or should people separate the artist from, let's say, the work?
Oh, I hate that question.
I mean...
it's such a hard... I mean, everybody has their own opinion on that question, but I'll let you go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, they're separate entities. Like, I'm not the artwork you're looking at and judging. You're looking at something I made that's separate from me. So,
but we're talking about
yes,
like the evildoer.
But I did make it, so it's still connected to my thoughts, ideas, and perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So if you judge my work, I'll try not to take a personality.
So you can't separate them?
I think you can to a point. I think they're obviously separate, so yes, you can separate them. So when you talk about my work, you're not talking to me about me as a human being, but you're talking about what I did just now in order to make this.
Let me ask you this. Rather than from a conversation standpoint, from a moral standpoint, considering a creator and the creation, should the creator's mishap or negative aspects of that be considered when someone else is interacting with their creation?
Should you delete R. Kelly's discography?
Should you delete R. Kelly's?
Should you mute R. Kelly? That's what everybody's saying. Mute R. Kelly. Like, never listen to another R. Kelly song.
Like,
I think that's a personal decision.
No, but like it's like
no,
we're talking about,
I don't
publicly
think,
not available anywhere.
No, it should still be accessible because that's censorship. That again runs into dictatorship. No, you should not dictate what I believe or what I listen to or what I want to watch. Period.
Because that's what the whole conversation is. It's about censorship versus
that's
criticism.
The whole point of USA is that you have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, and you can watch whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. That's the whole reason why people move here.
So when people are getting like
it's banned
from radio stations, when music getting banned from radio stations, and people getting like deplatformed and stuff like that, like, is that okay?
I think that's the major point of the conflict, right? Like, that's the conflict between the liberals and the conservatives, because the liberals are actually behaving like conservatives when they go to that point of, oh, we're deleting, we're eliminating, we're doing this. Mm-hmm. They're actually behaving in the same way as a dictator, as like, why they hate the conservatives in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's just ignorance. Like, at the end of it, that's like communism. Like, the Trump person should be able to believe in Trump. They should have that right to make America great again on their entire house. It's their own fucking house. They live there. They should have that right to do that. you know? But they shouldn't have the right to make laws that dictate my life. My life, who doesn't believe in what they say. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, that's the point of the U.S. That's the point of the U.S. is that you should be able to believe in what you believe as long as it doesn't affect somebody outside.
That's how it should be, but it's not how it's been operating. So when liberals
start acting like they're fucking parents, because that's what they grew up in anyways, you know, they're not as open-minded as they all think they are. Because that's how they start behaving, you know? That's their behavior, like, we're going to mute these people or take this, you know, da-da-da, like, then they're just looking in the mirror, honestly, like, when they're talking about Trump or conservatives or Republicans, it's like you're basically talking about yourself.
I mean, me personally, like, I'm not. R. Kelly, definitely, like, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I believe everything that's thrown at him, but there's definitely too much shit to, like, ignore about him. And
I mean, we always knew he liked teenage girls.
Yeah, for sure. But
it's just, which is weird.
But it's like, will I get rid of his music from my discography? Will I never have, like, those moments and those songs?
I think that's your choice.
That are
like, you should have that choice.
Yeah, I mean,
that's your
my choice personally is I can separate, you know, that person from an art or something they create. Like, it's not, they're not intrinsically entwined to me. You know?
But then I get that feeling when I listening to it about those weird vibes that make me feel weird, and then I don't want to hear his voice anymore. So that's when I stopped turning. Recently, it just happened recently. Like, it just, like, I couldn't hear one thing. Like, it was, because I still hear it on the radio, like Ignition and shit comes on still.
When you listen to this song, you are supporting that human.
Am I?
At the same time. Yeah, because you're giving him another play. You're giving him another hit.
I don't stream.
Buying another album.
But I'm not streaming.
His streaming numbers went up.
I mean, that's
whatever.
They
expected
right now.
His
streaming numbers have peaked right now. They're at.
I'm not buying his music again. I'm not streaming, so.
I know. I'm just saying, like, this backlash has actually helped R. Kelly make more money.
That's predictable. Controversy sells.
If he didn't have controversy, like, the whole newer generation wouldn't even know who the fuck he was. He's been so off for such a long time that the newer generation wouldn't even know who he was.
They would know who he was. They might not know his music like that, but they would know who he was.
Name. They just, they probably wouldn't know a song. They might know, like, one song, maybe.
Like, I'm talking like a middle schooler now. If there wasn't controversy, they wouldn't know who the hell R. Kelly was.
He's got a hell of a discography. So it's just like, it's kind of playing out like the fucking Boondocks episode, honestly. Like, again. Once again.
That shit was so crazy. No, but for real.
Once again. Going through this shit once again.
How do you feel about the whole, like, Bill Cosby situation?
I feel about the Bill Cosby situation the exact same way Dave Chappelle felt about it.
What did he say? I don't remember.
So his basic gist was, this was the rape joke that he did, which he set up literally from the first joke to the very last line of one of his stand-ups. I forget, the one in LA.
Yeah. He did such a good job on that.
Amazing. And people were mad about it. But I was like, this is like literally the best rape joke I've ever heard in my life. And it wasn't like, he saves, but he rapes. That's what his thing. Like, yeah, he did all this fucked up shit. But at the same time, he did do a lot of things for, like, the black community and for, like, presenting us in, like, a different light and opening doors and doing all this stuff. Yeah, he did all this fucked up shit. Yeah. But he raped people. And it's like, so should I just throw away every good thing they ever did because of this? Or can I separate, you know, that thing? And for me, like I said, I can separate. Like, I don't look at people who create things as like these, put them on a pedestal or like these idols. Like, I just assume most people have fucked up things about him anyways. And I just think like once you create something, kind of put it out there to the world, it's no longer really yours. Like people bring their own shit to it and people take their own things away from it. So it's like, it's not 100% that person's anymore. So I can separate the two things. And like, so the whole Bill Cosby situation, I feel exactly the same way Dave. Like, I've always felt like he was a fucking dickhead and probably like did a lot of fucked up shit. But at the same time, he did do a lot of good. No, I did. I've never liked Bill Cosby like that. I've heard a lot of things. Because the way he talks about like the younger generation about black people and like just his whole uppity shit. Like, I don't like people like that.
He hated Eddie Murphy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bill Cosby was talking shit.
He used to talk a lot of shit. And it's like...
Basically, he was like...
Oh, he's always
comedians
kind of been
were
an
vile.
asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the non-cussing, clean version. So he was...
And
he
for
was
me...
the other side.
And for me, people that are like that
he was
goody-goody...
America's comedian. Like...
Yeah, he was America's dad. He was
America's dad. Like, literally Bill
America's
Cosby
dad.
was the most American.
At one point, he almost bought NBC.
At
one point, he almost bought NBC. They just wouldn't let him do it, but he tried to buy NBC.
At the one point before we found out about everything.
This was way before that though. But I mean, people knew about this.
3 years. Way before. It's like
it was more than 3 years, bro. It was more than 3 years, and people have been talking about his shit for a long fucking time. Like, it's not like, yeah, he just got in trouble for it now, but people have been talking about that shit for fucking more than a decade, bro. There have been jokes about that shit for a while. But the thing is, like, yeah, okay. I've always thought he was, like, kind of an asshole, the way he talks to people and the way, and if anybody is like this, presents like this, I'm holier than thou, like, I'm so good, like, I don't fuck up, I don't do this, I just automatically think he's probably did some fucked up shit. Oh, he's like a fucked up person. Like, oh, behind the scenes, like he's probably like real fucked up. Probably flip
a switch.
Yeah, like, so I never trusted that image of him. Like, I've never thought this guy was like this perfect person. Like, no, I just like, everybody who does that is always overcompensating. So like, I've always felt that way about it. So I wasn't even surprised when it happened. But I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, should he just throw away everything he ever did? Because he did do a lot of things for a lot of people, and especially in the black community. And it's like, no, I wouldn't. I can't. And I can separate the two. I can say at the same time, he is a shit person. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I can say he did a lot of good shit. I can say those two things at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive to me. Mm-hmm. You can be both. You can be a fucking terrible person and you can do some great shit at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the world we're kind of entering more into.
You can't hide shit anymore.
The less binary world where it's good or bad and it's more them, they.
I think that's better because binary was always fake. The world is never, to me, been
real.
Binary.
It's not black or white. It's always gray, right?
People always were fucked up people. It was just, you can't hide shit anymore. That's the difference. Like, shit comes up all the time now. You can't hide shit. Your past will always come back to you, especially if it's on the internet. So it's like, like, so people are like acting so surprised when they find out fucked up things about people. But me, I'm just like, well, he was probably fucked up anyways. Like, I just assume like he probably had some fucked up shit about him. So at the same time, I can say he was a fucked up person, but he did great shit.
I get that to a point, but at some point you are, at some point you have to be held accountable for something.
No, I agree. He should be
hurting another person, and what he did was hurtful to other
1,000%.
people. And you should go to jail for that.
But then should I say fuck
everything
he ever did?
No matter how many good things you did. No matter how many good things you did.
I agree. He should go to jail. I 1,000 agree. But should I say at the same time, like, fuck everything he did? Like, I wouldn't. I would say fuck everything he did. I would just be like, he was a shitty person. Like, and when you talk about him, I would say he was a shitty person.
Not fuck everything you said, but if you do a good thing, you get praised. If you do a bad thing, you get punished. Like, he was praised, and he probably is still praised for the good things that he did to those people that he affected, and he is getting punished for the bad things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I never answered, but yeah, I definitely think you can separate. So
I think it should be that way. Like, people try to make it black or white. Either all the way this, or either all the way
they
this.
only try to do
That's
that
not
for,
how life works.
Because when you're in a position of power, because when you have money, people become toxic where they feel they can do anything they want to do. They feel they can do the worst thing in the world and they won't get into trouble for it. Because
but I never said they shouldn't be held accountable.
Donate to charity. No, I know. I'm not saying you're saying that. But that's one of the reasons why people feel so strongly about blacklisting these people, because they want them to feel some sort of punishment, because they're so rich, they're so wealthy, they're so well off, they're so successful that they won't feel punishment unless we hold back,
But banishment should never be held for all cases equally. Because not all situations
are equal. It's not, though. It's not that way. They're not all held equally.
They try to. They were trying to. I don't say they always try to, but they've been trying to. Well, all cases, anything happened, complete blacklist. Complete banishment, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with you, but whatever. You can think what you want to think.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. I still think, I think Kevin Hart should apologize again.
He just did. Like yesterday.
I know, he did. I saw it.
So you gotta do it again?
No.
Every day of his life?
Maybe.
For a
he does something big enough
for such a soft joke. Are you kidding me? I just don't understand the backlash on that at all.
It's like,
the way, if you hear the joke, it was like he said, it was the most PC way you could say it. It's Kevin Hart we're talking about.
If you put out statements, when you're in a position of influence and you put out statements, and there's always going to be people. It's like when you're a professor in school and you're talking about these things in a godly type of way, students are going to ask you questions and question you. When you're a parent to a child, it's the same thing.
Wait.
Like when you're in a position of influence and you're putting out these statements like, this is what it is, or this is how I feel, people are always going to come back and question you. And you should be able to respond to that without getting upset. Period. You should be able to respond to that, and your response is more telling than who you are and your sentiment than anything than what you said in the first place. Most likely. Like if Kevin Hart came out and said, fuck you, I don't give a, and he was like, he didn't apologize. He was like, that was a long time ago. Why am I still hearing about this? Blah, blah, blah. That would be more telling of him as a person. And people would be more against him. But because he came out and said, I'm sorry, I said this when I was whatever.
He actually came out and said it the first way.
I meant it a different way, or whatever he said, but he came out and he acknowledged the people who were talking about him. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Kevin Hart will be fine. Yeah. That backlash is different from the other backlash, so people who are listening don't confuse it with the same level of shit.
Yeah, like Louis C.K. will not be fine. Louis C.K. will get...
He'll be fine.
Ousted.
Kevin Hart could have even still hosted the Oscars. He still might even. We don't know yet.
I think Louis C.K. will be more ousted. Further ousted.
No.
Oh, definitely.
He won't. I'm going to tell you right now. He won't.
Oh, I guarantee it.
I guarantee you he won't. I guarantee you he does a big stand-up within the year. This year.
Oh, yeah. That's probably when they're going to get him out. That doesn't mean...
How are you going to get him out?
Prove my point wrong,
he's a comedian. You're only hearing one side. You're not hearing the other side that is backing him because of this. This is what I'm telling you. There's a very large side of people that are backing him because of this.
The only things that need to happen are somebody's going to file a lawsuit against Louis C.K.
For
It's
what?
going to be very public, and that's going to be the end.
A lawsuit
That's
about
it.
what?
He doesn't have a lawsuit.
About
All
what?
these other niggas got jail time in cases. Louis C.K.'s cases are no cases. There's no pending charges. It's just talk.
So
Where's
how's
the
he going
cases
to be
at?
ousted? How's he going to be a lawsuit? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Is it's not there yet? So what you're talking about is something that's not here yet either. So
It's been a year. No. There's not going to be any charges. There are no charges.
That's because nobody's filed.
I think he'll definitely have.
He never held. Hold on. He never held somebody against their will. It was all consensual. It was creepy, but it was all consensual. So
a guy
again,
who admitted to masturbating in front of women could easily be sued. Easily.
they all said it was consensual.
Sexual harassment
Once again,
or something.
they all said it was
But,
consensual.
like,
So that's out of the window.
I think he'll be ousted by a lot
We'll
of
see.
people. There obviously will be people who support him, just like
He will be fine.
R. Kelly.
I 1000%.
I don't
His
think-
show went down.
He's going to do stand-up
Louis
still.
CK, I don't care.
I don't
if
think
his
he'll
stuff
have,
isn't
like-
good, it doesn't matter. Like, who
I don't
cares?
think he'll
He just
have
gotta
like
make something.
the mass appeal that he did before this controversy.
I guess it's the legacy play. Like,
He'll lose
when
people
people
for a little bit of time, and he'll make a good stand-up. He'll make something, and I guarantee he'll be fine.
Nah, as long as he doesn't get too depressed.
I mean, yeah, he'll be fine, but I just don't think
That's so funny.
he'll be able to reach the heights he was potentially able to reach before.
Oh, he definitely took a hit. No, he definitely took a hit. I'm saying it's going to take time,
Yeah.
but people don't stay angry for that long.
Oh.
I don't think so. He just needs if he makes some good jokes, he makes a good stand-up. I
It's
think
just
a lot of
weird
people
because the
will.
community.
I mean, I think he lost all women supporters.
I wouldn't say all.
I wouldn't say all.
Well, no, but a lot of women supporters. Most of his women supporters, I think he lost.
Well, there were women in the audience in that clip we just listened.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you could listen to the laughs, there were way more male laughs than women laughs.
Yeah.
Okay.
There weren't that many people laughing. I didn't hear a bust out.
All the people who
Okay.
laughed sounded like dudes.
Okay, they all paid tickets though.
Yeah.
Laughing. and
Exactly.
paying. He still got his bet.
So I think he has less of women's supports and stuff.
Well,
I don't know. Trump has a lot of women support, so I don't know if that's necessarily true either.
They're not the same. You cannot compare Trump with Louis C.K.
can't compare half the things we're comparing to each other.
Although Louis C.K. is kind of the Trump of comedy. No, I just compared them.
That's a whole nother lane he could go into, honestly.
Right, where you could just say Trump is kind of like that. He just says
Say
whatever.
what the fuck he wants, and you keep saying what the fuck you want, and then people just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people kind of want him to do it. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I think backlash is good. I think these people coming out and being asshats in public is a good thing because it's making other people come out and fight against them and put themselves in position of power where they didn't feel the need to before. So I think there's a lot of like changes happening in the next 10 years that are going to be a result of this time right now. So
What kind of changes do you think?
I think there'll be more of a presence of women in politics and policy making. And I think that just on its own has the potential to change the world. Period. So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. The United States has such a central position in world politics, and this shift that's happening within this country is telling of the world and is telling of the future. And I can see things. I have hope, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's all doom.
I never
think
think it's
there's
doom.
always, yeah, there's always got to be like, you always got to kind of fall flat on your face before you can get up and figure out who you are, you know?
I just think we're in a hyper extreme moment right now, particularly due to the internet and just the whole new
social media.
figuring out social media shit. And
yeah, because
new
everybody
norms,
has the
basically.
platform to have an opinion
Yes.
out loud.
Yeah. New norms, basically. And it's going to take some time, but we'll see. We'll see. But that is it for today's podcast. We had a pretty deep dive on this topic. We want to know what you guys think about it. What do you guys think about, the Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K., R. Kelly, Kevin Hart situations? What do you guys think about the public, arguments on both sides? What do you think about the backlashes, the pushback, just everything? What do you guys think about where things are headed? Let us know in the comments down below. And, we'll get back to you. But that is it once again for today's podcast. It's January 9th, 2019. And it's been a good show with Mr. Doris Walker. Want to say something?
Yeah. And our guest, Sarah, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Sarah Megdari.
Keep living life fearless, y'all.
Megdari, not Mick.
Oh, yeah. Find her on Instagram at SZM. Well,
My last name is very long, but just go to SZMEGHDARI.com
boom.
for more information.
Yep. So thank you for joining us. Nice conversation. We had to get a female voice in here. It would just be me and Doris going at it. So it was a good show. We talked about a lot, and definitely have you back on sometime.
Yeah, fuck the patriarchy. Gotta get the women in here talking, disagreeing with you guys, because maybe you're agreeing with each other.
We disagree all the time.
Yeah, half the podcast. We just
Disagree all the time. But it's always nice to get another voice in there.
definitely.
That's good.
Yeah, because it's always interesting to see which side, because it's always like in different topics, because no one's ever been on like one person's side the whole time. It's always like, oh yeah, no, I see that side, and then the next one, oh no, like they'll see Dario's side more, or they'll see my side more. But it's cool. Yeah, I like the dynamic because we get new information. So
I mean, full disclaimer.
You have different information, different experiences.
Full disclaimer. It was kind of 2-on-1 today. But
Oh no, it was not. I was with you in some areas.
Yeah.
I was totally against him in some areas.
Yeah.
I was just trying to make sure y'all were arguing about the same thing.
Yeah, it was 2 against 1. 2 dudes against.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Doris knew what it was today.
See, that's weird.
Yeah.
So both of
like
y'all
y'all
got completely separate.
We have different experiences. Yeah.
Of the same
For
thing.
me, it's
See,
more
I'm
like,
saying.
oh, I have to talk to these 2 men's and like make sure my voice is heard, because that doesn't happen just on its own.
We'll always give you a voice on here.
No, but it's true. It's true. To be honest, it's true. I feel it.
All right. Well,
It's real. It's real.
like I said, we will be back shortly with our next podcast.
We're still recording.
Some point next week. This is the Fearless Show. We ran a bit long, and we had some technical difficulties with the video, but thank you guys for joining us and listening to us. And again, any comments, questions, topic suggestions about this show, past show, or any future shows, you can let us know in the comments down below wherever this goes up. Or you can head over to livinglifefearless.co/podcast and fill out the form and let us know there. Or email us directly at podcast@livelifefearless.co. We have so much more stuff in store, so definitely check out the website and check out the article. It's a really lengthy, in-depth, and good article about the topic we just talked about by Steven Silver, one of our ongoing contributors and content creators. And we have so much more in store in terms of apparel, so be on the lookout for that. We have a lot of big news coming, so we'll be back shortly with more. Thank you guys, and do what, Reese?
Keep living life fearless, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, 2019.
Peace. Catch y'all later.